All submissions for the My Music assignment have been graded, and there are no resubmissions for that work. Because this is a growing experience and I want each writing assignment to be something that is a growth moment, the My Music assignment is not as heavily weighted as other assignments in the course because we want to build on those skills. So I want to go over a few things with you just to make sure that we're all moving forward correctly. So let's take a look real quick. First, let's start with the syllabus. As you know, all work was to be submitted as a PDF and was to be double spaced. In the upper left corner, name. I cannot grade any submission that is placed into my grade center that does not have a name. I am not able to do that. Word count, that was the information for that. Everybody's doing a great job on word count, by the way. You're doing a good job of giving yourself credit for the words you have written, which I think is fantastic. The title, this was to be the image of the performer in motion. This is where the image is sharp, crisp, and shows the person singing the song actually singing the song. If I select a song where nobody is singing the song and I cannot find that, then I need to find a different song for this particular assignment. And then down here, importantly, this was to be 12 font times New Roman 1-inch margins. I saw all kinds of different fonts, and you received some deductions for that. This is the syllabus. We need to make sure that we pay attention to that. Enough said, let's move on to the assignment itself. Tutorials were included that took you on a step-by-step guide through each part of the process. In addition, the PDF included full instructions. Let's look at that PDF together and let's look at one of the examples. Step-by-step instructions are included to go through, and of course all of those were covered in the tutorial. But let's look at the example. First, my name, course date information would come here on the upper left side. Then I have entitled my essay, Freedom. And I kind of staggered the lyrics in there kind of creatively, and that is an image of the performer of the song in motion. I have another image included in the paragraph itself with the performer in motion. These are the instructions and step by step. Remember, one of the things to learn from this, and I want you to learn writing formal language. It is becoming more and more challenging to write formal language because communication has been changed into emojis and short texts and lots of slang. Formal writing takes out all the slang. So one of the things I might say to somebody in conversation, I might say, you know what, growing up, I always looked at this, that, or the other TV show. Well, growing up is not a phrase. Growing is not a verb. So those two words don't make any sense in the sentence at all. It's just something I say conversationally when I'm talking to somebody. So I would take those words out when I'm writing formal language, and I would say, I watched this or that show when I was 7 years old, being specific. While growing up doesn't mean anything. Do you see that? I know you do. Okay, then we were to come down and write the information and include lyrics, and we have a colon before the lyrics, and then we indent the two lyrics, and then we use a citation for where that came from. Now, because we indented it, the period goes here and the citation goes after because it's indented information. As you see here, the lyrics are within a sentence, and therefore the citation is punctuated on the outside with a period. Do you see that distinction? Not to worry if you don't. There are tutorials in the course that explain that. I'm just going over that with you. Now we go down and I use more lyrics, and then I go according to, now I'm doing my interview. Each assignment was to have an interview, and that interview was to be quoted. And then I put the source where that came from. Now, let's say that you got a quote from a friend of yours who you called on the phone and you asked their opinion. In that case, you would simply put in the parenthesis, interview, because the reader knows to go down to your works cited and find that interview. Do you see this? If in your paragraph you did not include in your works cited the interview, then you'll see some deductions. We go on through the rest of it, and let's look at that second example together. If you're tired of looking at examples, you can go ahead and log off now, because I'm just going to cover this second example just to make sure we all understand. But remember, if you're logging off now, there are no resubmissions for that exam. We move forward. Everybody needed to work on something. Nobody turned in anything perfect, and everybody had something to work on as they move forward in the course. For those of you who would like to hang in there, let's look at this second example. If you're sticking around, we're looking at everything is coming our way, which is my second example. And again, I kind of staggered the lyrics. You did a good job of putting the lyrics in, and we have that. Now it's ready to go down into the paragraph. Remember to indent, and I look at the quotes that I have in here. I have the underlined thesis statement, and I have indented lyrics, cited. Remember, because it's indented, the citation, the period goes there, and the citation is set alone without any punctuation. Now I go down and I have interviewed somebody, and I include that interview. Now, where does the reader go to find out what information about this interview with Jessica Alvarez? That's right, they would go down to the works cited, where they would see that citation for the interview. So the best thing to do moving forward is to take those suggestions that were written in your comments and look at the rubric scores. And remember that when you write something, because everybody has it, everybody I know, I can't speak on behalf of 9 billion people, but me and everybody I know has problems creating formal language. Sometimes I write a sentence and I think it's going on for 2 days and I have to go back and edit that sentence. And it is a temptation to write informal language like I speak. Because I've said that to people. I've said, growing up, but that's not the way a formal sentence is written. There are tutorials in the course on writing formal sentences, and you can study that. You can also use Grammarly or any of those other resources or the free tutoring services available through the school, to make sure before you submit something that you've read that content out loud and taken time to correct those sentences that might be problematic. Check all of your punctuation and then submit the PDF with the completed content. That concludes this review of the My Music assignment.